Many thanks for joining us on another edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakum. Today on the Hangout, total blackout looms in Nigeria as Genco's Disco battle 601 billion naira debts. Kogi introduces whistleblowing policy against rumor mongering. Later on the program, PDP wins all final Rivers rerun. I'll be joined by Stella Sawyer, Olayinka Oyegbile, and Babajide Kolade Otitoju. I'll be helping you to make sense of these stories. So if you are ready, let the Hangout start now. In 2013, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan privatized the power sector. Nigerians were excited and thought that would be the end of decades of power failure in their homes, but they were wrong. The privatization did little or nothing to ease their pains almost 4 years after the privatization. Nigerians still depend on generators for their electricity needs, but the situation might even get worse in the coming weeks as power distribution companies say they are owed more than 601 billion naira, and this is stifling their operations. They said Nigerians pay only 20% of the electricity consumed. When will Nigeria get it right when it comes to power? Babajide, this is like from how will I call it, adding salt to injury. Because in this kind of situation, when you are telling me that we are paying for 20% of the electricity consumed and that this present situation might get worse. Let me paint a fair picture of this present situation. At least I stay somewhere around Lagos and very close to Ogba axis, and there was a time we used to do 21 hours, 22 hours power supply, and it was that time heaven on earth, and the generator, everything was at rest and everything. But conveniently now, I can't boast of 2 hours of power supply out of 24 hours. Yes. And if you can't boast that means if you're at home, you have to charge your phones, you have to charge your iPad, charge your gadget, at least to stay abreast of information, to be able to track information and everything. So if somebody is telling me that it will go from bad to worse, so that 2 hours we might be negotiating it, Jide.
So I think that the Minister of Power himself,
Babatunde
Fashola said something some time ago that really was interesting to me. He said if he were a Nigerian, if he were not in government, and you are an electricity consumer, that I will not pay for electricity.
And they'll cut your lights.
And for electricity not supplied. Because the truth is, many Nigerians continue to receive estimated bills. And they get huge bills for electricity not used. So Fashola has already admitted that Nigerians do not get as much electricity as they would want. Even if he didn't admit that, we would have seen him as a liar, because we know that Nigerians are not getting as much electricity as they should get. The generating capacity, the available generating capacity, is about 8,000 megawatts. But because of aging infrastructure, the transmission companies cannot do much. So you have about 4,000 megawatts, just 4,900 megawatts just wasting away.
Can be optimized.
Yes, because there has not been sufficient investment in the transmission end of the power sector value chain. While others, the Gencos, the distribution companies, while they are investing heavily. If you go to Egben, you will see the benefit of massive investment in that power facility. But we've not had similar investment in the transmission end, which is still held by government. So if all of them would would modernize their equipment at the same level. If all of them will function at the same level, then we can have some improvement. But what we are saying is there are all kinds of problems. These people need forex to even freshen up their equipment. They can't access forex.
Imports,
yes,
their hardware.
And fluctuating exchange rate has made it extremely difficult for them to plan. These are business people. So 601 billion is a big problem. And for a lot of Nigerians, they do not even pay electricity bills. I had an uncle who lived in a house here in Lagos for 14 years and never paid for one day. Yes. You know the person I'm talking about. 14, they didn't even come. So there are all kinds of problems. There is the intervention fund, the power intervention fund, that they are unable to draw from. Because the CBN has some conditions, difficult conditions, that the GENCOs are finding it difficult to meet. And when you don't meet those conditions, you can't draw from the fund. So where are they going to find money? And if you do not pay them, how do they pay gas suppliers? And if they don't pay gas suppliers, they won't be supplied with gas. And the implication of that is that we will not have light. Fashola has been very honest by telling us that if he were like you and I, that he would not pay for electricity not supplied. We've been paying for so long for darkness. I think that Nigerians must realize, and the people in government must realize, that things are getting bad, especially with the power sector. We've been warned. This warning didn't start today. We've been warned that a catastrophic system collapse is on the way if things continue the way they are.
And if you see recently, we've been doing some zero. There was a time that our power district just
crashed.
Zero.
Yes.
Like twice within the space of.
We've had all kinds of problems. There are we have six major GENCOs that we must do something about. Egbe, Shiroro, Sapele, Kainji, amongst others. We must invest in them, ensure that the equipment, that they are able to bring in spares as much as they want, because nearly all the spares that they need to bring in are imported. Nearly all the spares are imported. But how do they have access to forex? If they do not have access to forex, then you just hear that some of this equipment have collapsed. So we must not wait until that day before we do something drastic.
Sir, when you are looking at this, we are looking at the economic impact now.
That is
for small-scale business.
Yeah, that is actually my worry. And we're talking about reviving our economy.
If you are running a small-scale business and you're expected to use a generator,
of course, to
sell small frozen foods.
Talking about generator, we're talking about, for those who use diesel, you know what the price of diesel, is in the market now. Then we're talking about even fuel. For someone who has to buy maybe 20 liters every day to power your generator, if you have to work, especially artisans who rely on power. We have so many people. Even companies, most of companies are actually closing shop because they just can't meet.
Small-scale industry, there's so much depend on.
So we're talking about reviving our economy. And the first thing people will tell you is, get your power situation in a good stand. And now we're being told that our power situation is going to get worse. I think it definitely is going to have an adverse effect on already deplorable, situation. I think for now, we should actually listen to what the GENCOs are saying. They are not just saying they cannot, keep supplying power, but they are saying distribution companies are owing them. These same distribution companies are complaining that they are also being held
by military institutions, barracks,
NDAs,
by you and I.
NDAs. And the irony of it is people like us that pay bill. I know, because I don't want a NEPA official to come to my house and the shame of having your light disconnected. You want to, like, okay, let me just pay. Even when you're not getting,
you have shame.
Even when you're not getting the light.
When they disconnect it, they will reconnect it back.
But ministries, departments, agencies,
police stations,
and they are just not paying. And you go to most of these police stations, most of them, well, I've gone to one or two when people call to say, oh, come and help us, and you see them asking you to, maybe asking those who have cases to buy,
yeah.
to pay for generator, I mean
fuel.
fuel, so that they can power their generator. I mean, it's a shame. So now, for now, I think it's something to worry about. What is that? How do we even go about it? I think government should really look into the situation of this power situation. What exactly? How do we help these gencos? How do we help discos? The discos, remember, they are complaining now that it's not just about inability to get their money. They're also complaining about vandalism. I don't think that has stopped. They are talking about the fact that they cannot even collect money from banks. You know,
several factors limiting their
limiting. So where do we even begin to discuss their matter? I think it's something to worry.
When you begin to see an average Nigerian, sabotaging the economy, and you just see Governor Ambode in Lagos making street lights, trying to make life better, to make sure that it's been powered by generating set and everything. People will still go into that street lights. They'll still disconnect some things and vandalize it, and this is what we are facing at all levels in Nigeria.
You see, this is the greatest time and the most beautiful time to be in power supply business. But unfortunately, that is not the situation in Nigeria. You find out that there is hardly anything you do today that you don't need power supply. You want to charge your phone, you want to charge your iPad, every other thing, and it's all power. So at this time, this is the time for them.
As of today, the temperature is 34 degrees.
That is the
Can
best
you
time
afford
for
to
them
be
to
without
be
a fan in your
business.
house?
But unfortunately, that opportunity is being frittered away. I'll tell you a personal story. October 11 last year was the last time we had power supply in my Songwater area. It was only restored
October 11th.
and it was only restored on February 26th.
You are keeping
Just 2 days ago. And the 2 days it was restored, it was only for about 3-4 hours. And now, what was the problem? They said they had a problem somewhere, they needed 300,000, and that they wanted maybe the community. They didn't come out to tell us that. But I knew that this thing is privately owned now. In what way will I have to contribute to your business?
A private business.
We've said this here before.
Okay, let me quickly take this my first break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still journalist Hangout coming to you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we're looking at the power situation, the challenges in the power situation. I'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Don't go away. Welcome back. It's still journalist Hangout. Yinka,
Yes.
you are running off your thought.
Yes, as I was saying. Now, the question I kept asking myself is this. Assuming these gencos, assuming they were really using the money they are generating from the payment of NEPA bill, will they afford to be off air from October to February? And this is not just a small community. It is a very large community in Sangwater area. And now, you are talking of you are being owed. Who are the people who are owing them? They are not people like us. Luckily enough, I use a prepaid meter, so I'm off that wicked talk of crazy bill.
It's pay as you use.
The last time I bought, I paid for, I bought credit for the light was in January 2016, if I'm not mistaken,
Because
and that was only 5,000.
Because
and up till this
you are
moment,
still using it because
I'm still using it.
you never have lights.
Exactly. And I saw in that situation, some people don't have prepaid meter.
I think
In 1 month, they paid 5,000. They pay, and I said, for what? So, and that is the reason why they don't want prepaid meter to work. It is their own problem. We should not blame anybody. Their workers go around where they have light to collect money from people, and they don't want the prepaid meter to work so that they can continue to feed fat, and the company will collapse. So it is left for the or whatever they call themselves to make sure that they make people pay for what they consume.
Okay, let's get feedback around the country. Just call us
Let
and tell us
them
the power situation
the
in your
meter.
area. Babajide, so we look at the model in Togo, look at the model in Ghana, neighboring countries.
Yes.
we know they have stable power supply.
Definitely.
And it's always like rocket science that how do they manage in Ghana to have almost 24 hours? How do they manage?
Ghana too, they are facing.
And they just started. It's not terrible, and for a long time they've been able to destabilize. They enjoyed it.
You know, first you look at the population. I think
No,
that's
no,
the
no,
first
no.
thing.
I think
See,
as
that
the
is
foundational
one thing I
thing.
don't always like to hear.
I don't think
the
it is.
United States of America has bigger population than Nigeria.
And
Do they
like
this
this,
problem?
and there are 200.
Yeah,
No.
so
yes.
No, so China.
No, exactly. It is not a question
Jide,
of
please
population.
about the
It is
equipment.
Tell
because
us
we don't
what is
plan.
happening.
About the generation.
Yes, as in how come we have this kind of problem?
For so many years, you see, let me tell you with the Obasanjo regime. Obasanjo started wrongly. He thought that he could replenish the equipment at Kainji and then see real progress.
Revive.
But he was just sinking money in Kainji.
It wasn't showing.
Nothing happened. It was less than a year to the end of his 8 years reign that the idea of building power plants now came. That's how Omotosho, Geregu, Papalanto, all of those power plants.
It was towards its, when he was leaving.
Yes, when he was leaving. He didn't complete. He had about 6 months or so to build those power plants. And when Yaradua came in, instead of continuing the project, they busied themselves with investigating, probing, and all
They want
that.
to know how much was
trying to say, okay,
Yeah.
so much money was
And
stolen.
then
In fact, where Yaradua said 10 billion was invested in the power sector, and that we have not seen the reward. Nigerian newspapers quoted him out of context by saying 10 billion wasted. The only newspaper that I remember clearly, accurately quoted the then president was Vanguard newspaper. Other newspapers were just sensationalizing that he said wasted. Where power plants have been built, some of those power plants
They're still there today.
they've even been inaugurated,
Yeah.
yes, as we speak. So how can you say
Also
an
there is-
ongoing project? You cannot describe it as a waste. So that was that. If Obasanjo had realized earlier that building new power plants
We'll solve
was
the
the way to
problem.
go,
We had just
honestly,
called the General
during his
Electric
time,
and
during his time,
Would
he
have
would
solved
have solved
this
that
problem.
problem.
Definitely.
And then when he was building the power plants, he clearly had no plan for gas supply.
Yeah.
Because look, you are supposed to build power plants closer to the source of gas. Since you are going to depend on gas,
Yes. Yeah.
you are supposed to build power plants close to the
So
source
most of the
gas.
time they have to get gas from the Niger
You can
Delta.
imagine.
Long,
And when sabotage came and all that,
those
it
Actually,
became
pipelines
a
were
big
big
problem.
problem.
You know, and
Became messy.
if Egbin, for example, I was impressed with what the administration of Goodluck Jonathan did with Egbin. The investors that came in, they improved Egbin's capacity. Egbin now had like 2,200 megawatts capacity, which is bigger than what Kainji will give you, because Kainji can only give you about 700.
I used to think Kanji is the largest.
At one time, yes. But Egbin is the largest now, with about 2,200 installed capacity.
depending-
But gas supply
gas supply.
the lack of gas supply has ensured that it cannot operate at its installed capacity.
So Kanji will still be giving us more
Now,
because it's hydro.
look at another problem. Sensible countries where leaders they think of alternative sources, different sources.
Yeah.
We should have looked at hydro. A country like Mozambique, for example, they depend on hydro. A country like Brazil, they generate more than 100,000 megawatts from hydro alone. South Africa generates more than 40,000 from coal. So alternative,
in abundance.
we also have.
We have
Now,
coal, Enugu.
we have a project that has been lying there, the Mambila Power Project.
Yeah.
The Mambila
Hydro,
Power Project
that one,
alone
Yeah.
will give Nigeria about 4,600 megawatts, which is higher than what we are generating now, which is higher than what we are distributing, not generating. We are able to generate at least in the region of between 7,800 to 8,000 megawatts. But the bulk of it is in their language called stranded. when about 4,900 of what you can generate is stranded. So what do you have left? That is the dilemma that we have. We call ourselves giants of Africa. We are struggling to generate more than 2,000 megawatts. And we have no shame. We call ourselves giant of Africa. And our rival, that country where they are killing our people, they are generating about 44. So we know who the real giant is. You see, the power sector, no doubt about it, you must keep pumping funds into that sector on a consistent basis. If we want to see real progress, for the next 10 years, we must inject sufficient funds. My worry is that even the Nigerian banks, if we are looking at what the UN has said, Nigerian banks cannot fund that injection of capital. We do not. Gencos can do their bit in terms of freshening up their equipment and all that. But how about the transmission companies? Because when the transition companies, because of the problem of equipment, the Gencos generate and they are unable to use up what is generated. At the end of the day, who pays for what has been generated that is unusable?
Stranded.
Was it stranded? Who pays for it? Because at the end of the day, you've invested money to generate it.
Yeah.
Stella,
so we have all kinds of problems.
I don't know.
Yeah,
what Julia has just analyzed.
Of course. That is
looking
just
like
the truth.
a complex problem.
That is just the truth. And that's why, I mean, we really need to call on government to really do the needful. Really pump money into the power situation.
But we don't have the money again.
Well, of course, we have to look. We have to. We're getting.
You lost the opportunity.
We used to sell crude oil $20 per barrel.
The only problem.
We've been talking about
what
loans.
I think we
We've
can
been
do
talking about getting loans. Such loans. The loans that we're getting. What are we pouring into?
We need for power sector.
So we can get loans. We can get countries to come.
To arrest
Stella, you know what most people have suggested.
Yeah.
What most people have suggested is that we should look at this whole privatization of the power sector.
Okay.
It has not benefited us. The deal was wrong.
Maybe it's the way
from
they
the
went
beginning.
about it. Yes. Definitely.
You sold power plants to individuals that had no track record.
Definitely.
To bankers,
that sector.
And the bankers and other people
and those are just business people.
Politicians using layers.
Illiterates in power matters. You gave them these power plants. After that, you now still release money to them. You call the intervention fund for them. Government gave them more than 100 billion to share. I've never seen a situation in which I sell something to you,
and
then I'm giving you more money to make use of what you are.
So why don't you use that money?
People have said, why don't we look at this deal, cancel it, bring in the likes of General Electric and others who have the capacity.
Those who have been in the
business.
business.
Have the capacity. We can say, oh, they did it in this country, they did it in that
and
country.
I thought that was the idea of.
We cannot. The other day,
our telecoms problem. I don't know why power is
people asked Fashola, he was asked that question. He said, "There's nothing anybody can do about that deal." I think he's thinking of the legal implication people.
Exactly.
But there's no solution to this thing unless we do it. If the legal thing will come,
outright cancellation, maybe they have to review, because I know
those guys don't have capacity. They don't have the money. They don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the knowledge.
When you do a review, if they have 100%
and banks are not ready to
if they have 100% hold now, you can reduce that to 50 or 40
already,
and let others come in and
see what they can do.
With those ones, with the new companies, be ready to share. With them.
That's
if we bring a General Electric, with General Electric come and share it with Ugeli
generating company. Ibadan Electric that is
owned by Lumelu.
Ibadan Electric that's the one that is supplying my area. Ibadan.
All right, we take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. Still Journalist Hangout. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So, gentlemen, way out of this quagmire, because since I was young, I used to hear up NEPA, oh NEPA, and my kids now, they are going up to no power failure. they are not growing up to know of consistency in power supply. Jide?
There's no way, with all the problems that we talked about, aging infrastructure, lack of capacity by the generating companies, you know, and all that, there's really no way you can get consistent power supply.
Jide, let me quickly take Gbenga from Lagos.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, guys.
Thank you for joining us. Is that our Gbenga?
Yes, it is your Gbenga.
Oh, Gbenga Nitilo.
Yes, so this
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead with your contribution.
These are some of the areas I'm passionate about. Few things. The first one is terminating the power project will be a great liability to the government of Nigeria because of the contract that was signed. The government does not have the money to pay back any form of default compensation. Number two, the power companies, like Jide rightly said, they don't have the funding. They need over $20 billion for a period of over 5 to 8 years, which the banks in Nigeria can...
So solution, Gbenga, give us a way out.
The way out is this. Let's take our mind off this power project and start looking at alternative sources of energy. And start building those alternative sources of energy in clusters, inviting different bids from people like General Electric, people that really have the competency, and building clusters all over Nigeria. Also, giving power to the states to start having independent power plants to generate.
Okay, Gbenga, we really have to go. Thank you, Gbenga. We really have to go. One of the Gbenga is a friend of the house, so we invite him to the studio and we do like a second part of this. Jide, finally,
I'm saying that there's no way you can expect to get regular power supply, given the problems that we've talked about. But I think that the power minister, Babatunde Raji Fashola, should realize that history will be unkind to him if he does not solve this problem. One of the reasons why the former administration was unpopular was its inability to generate
to fix
power consistently. And I remember Fashola himself condemning them, calling them Batueyo.
That if you are not able to fix the power supply,
that means that it is not rocket science, that it shows that you are a failure, that you are Batueyo. Now, I want Fashola to go back, roll back the years, and look at what he said. Look at what he said about those people, and imagine what people will say about him if he does not solve this problem.
So I'm sure it will not be safe to call Fashola Igbaatueyo.
No. We don't. No. He's our hero.
Yes.
He's our hero in Lagos. We don't want. No, it won't be tolerated for anybody to call him Igbaatueyo.
But
he should be conscious of the fact
that at the end of the day, so
the thing is, he still has time. As long as he remains the minister, he still has time. Let him do his best to solve that problem so that history will not be harsh on him.
Yeah.
That is just my advice to him.
I think we should also remember that we're talking about the debts, you know, the complaints about the Gencos and the Disco saying that people...
610 billion.
Yes, government should insist that ministries, departments, their agencies...
Military barracks.
Pay for whatever, you know, electricity they use. I mean,
it should be in the budget
because they
will not. Those guys they will not pay.
No,
the military, for example, will not pay. So it should be in the budget, and they should not take it from source. They will beat up any PCN staff that comes to.
Gentlemen, I have to move on.
They don't pay for it.
They have to be
now, moving on now. Kogi State made history. It made history as the first state in Nigeria to offer cash reward to any persons who blows whistle not on corruption but on rumor mongering. While Governor Yaya Bello was basking in the euphoria of his cerebral strategy to stabilize the state, critics say the decision has only exposed his profound capacity to be petty and clueless. They say his government has lost touch with reality and it is at the best a joke. Is there anything wrong with Governor Yaya Bello's whistleblowing package? Gentlemen, I read it. Our friend Mrs. Oyegbule signed that press release, and that if anybody can blow the whistle.
I think you just said it. I think maybe it was meant to be a joke, because I mean, to me, how do you now gauge who is carrying a rumor against maybe the person of government or governance in Kogi State, how do you even gauge?
This is a state that has the worst road network in Nigeria. And
my take is, you will be worried about people carrying rumor if your communication system is not, right. If you can communicate effectively with your people, with the citizenry, I don't think there'll be problem with anybody carrying rumor. To me, I read it.
Performing well.
I read it and I just concluded that it's a joke.
What's Governor Zambo's problem if anybody is peddling any rumor?
Thank you very
much. Have you ever even had,
Personally,
if you are performing and
left to me, I will just leave this issue untalked about.
Yeah,
because it's not completely petty, and the more we talk about it, the more it looks to me as if we are also joining issues with a low-minded person. I don't want to
don't insult my government.
I want Jide to be the spokesman of Yaya Bello now.
Don't insult my government.
He's from Kogi State.
The fact that a governor can think of such, of all problems facing the state.
Civil servants are being owed backlogs.
And you now want to give 500 naira whistleblowing for
500,000.
Let's talk about something.
I think it's just a way to go. I mean, maybe he has
whatever you people.
Is his governor. Okay. Well,
let's listen to Governor Yaya Bello himself.
Okay.
So that it's not going to be as if this is concocted.
Okay.
Let them continue to talk, but it's falling on deaf ear. I don't care. My own is, let me be focused. If they see somebody that can distract, they should know. But no, surely not Yaya Bello. If they know my antecedents were light, they would have kept quiet long ago. And quickly find something good to do. If they know the way and manner, first I was given birth to. The way and manner God raised me and how I get to this position. If they simply know that it is an act of God, wallahi, they would have kept quiet long ago. But you know one thing? They will continue to deceive themselves, build their castles in the air. Are you getting my point now? Yes. And you see, when somebody is drowning, you continue to look for straw to hold. But you know that straw cannot hold somebody that is drowning in an ocean. Is that not so? That's the noise they're making. So allow them. They are noise makers. Yeah? They are noise makers. We know them. At an appropriate time, we will tell them who they are. And we will silence them once and for all. Silence them by our work and by our performance.
Yeah.
And the common people on the street will tell them to their face to keep their sealed lip. Eh? You open your mouth, keep quiet. The only thing that you'll be telling them on Facebook, if they talk, you say, keep quiet. We know who you are. They talk, keep quiet. We know who you are. Keep quiet. All you tell them, keep quiet. Your noise is too much.
Well, I mean, it's so obvious that...
because after this particular episode, that is when we had him issuing cash,
I think it's so
offering cash prizes of 500,000 naira for anybody that comes to, will report a whistleblower to report somebody carrying rumor. Jide?
I think that first and foremost, let me say my governor is better than yours.
No.
My governor is better than yours.
Jide, you can't say that.
My governor is better than yours.
I have a governor that is barely 2 days in office. My governor is Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. And it's just, this is his second day in office.
Ayo, my governor is better than yours.
Okay.
Maybe
you say the thing
maybe
is,
we need to, yeah.
Governor Yaya Bello,
okay,
as you saw clearly there, has some similarities with the man who is the governor of Rivers State.
Okay. You can see the...
He talks like Wike.
Yes.
That's the Wike of the...
I'm in charge,
Wike, he appears to see Wike as a role model.
As a role model, yeah.
And I will not blame him because Wike was voted governor of the year. So Perhaps,
Yeah.
perhaps
Recently.
Yabelo is positioning himself so that he too will become governor of the year next year. Because you can see this is the way Wike talks. That's the way Wike talks. He said that the people who are bad-mouthing him can go and report him to Donald Trump. That was earlier in that video.
I mean,
The truth is, see, we are already seeing the benefits of whistleblowing. People's homes are being stormed and they are finding money. In fact, the latest story is that the same DG of Customs that they found some cars, they've already now discovered his fireproof safes, and they are trying to open those safes. They are sure that they will find money there.
Oh, sure.
Whistleblowing is yielding dividends.
Yeah.
But in my own state, because Kogi know they carry last. In my own state, we have chosen to fine-tune the whistle blower policy. We fine-tuned it, and we are now looking for all those people who open their mouths. We will now deal with them. That is our own concern. We are not interested in looking for money.
No.
It's not money.
And not development.
We are not. It's about
anybody
who opens his mouth to attack our governor. They are the ones that we are after. You know, the former CBN governor. You saw what he did to our governor. It's clear.
Yes,
it's clear to people now.
Ayo,
it is clear to people now what the agenda of our governor is. Our governor is hunting for rumor mongers and all that. How many rumor mongers can you find in one day? Nigerians enjoy idle talk.
Oh, yeah.
So if Buhari were to say, okay, go after all those who coming up with rumors about my health, how many people are they going to arrest in one day?
Yeah.
Then won't even this policy be abused by people who have quarrels with their friends?
And
then they will say, oh, this one is abusing you.
Or former President Goodluck Jonathan would have died of rumor mongering.
Of course, there was nothing they didn't accuse
most
him of doing.
abused governor. Abused president in history.
So it just shows what the man's priorities are. Sanusi came in and said, see, the Quran forbids punishing people. To the face of our governor, he told him, he said, you are refusing to pay people salaries. Remember that a day will come when you will face your maker. So I expect the governor to get busy with other things.
Let me take this break.
Not just rumor
we're still on this. Let me just take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still journalist Tanga reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout, and we're still looking at the history made by the Kogi State governor for offering a cash reward of 500,000 naira of whoever blows whistle, on rumor mongering. So in Kogi State, you have to be careful of what you say. What you say about government. If it's not performing, just shut your trap. If you can't stand the kitchen, the heat, you go out of the kitchen.
I think the governor should just concern himself.
You know, as I said, honestly, I don't know what to say. Because if I'm really going to express myself, it might turn into something else. I don't see any reason why, of all problems in the world, that a governor will want to give a state's hard-earned money 500,000 naira. That's half a million naira.
That means I can concoct lie against anybody.
And exactly.
So how will it be proven?
If I have a problem,
how do we verify?
Exactly. How do you verify that what Olayinka has reported and that the president has said it? Or you just want to say that Olayinka has said it is rumor?
Ayeni is calling us from Abuja. Thank you, Ayeni. Hello, Ayeni. Hello. All right, we have to take.
So you just now say that, okay, Olayinka has said, so person said this and it's rumor about the government, and then you go and punish that person and give me 500,000 naira? Is that the essence of governance? I mean, it shows the level of the kind of people that we have voted into power. I mean, this thing is ridiculous.
Stella.
My friend.
My take is, I remember what he said about the fact that he would rather want his work and his performance
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
be
to
what
speak-
people
to challenge people with it.
to judge him with. And I want him to take that as his own personal, challenge. Let him go and walk. Let people see what you're doing. Turn around your state.
state.
And people will, of the rumor that they will now be carrying is the rumor that he did well, not the rumor that I think it's just a way to fight back and get back at his
Emeka is calling us from
enemies,
Nasarawa
you know.
State. Thank you for joining us, Emeka.
Good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead with your contribution, Emeka.
In fact, this governor to me, I think it's not serious. Okay, now we are crying on recession. There's no money. So you have that guy have 500,000 just rumor mongering, just for rumor mongering. No. You have the problem. You know there's no money, but you have 500,000 that's just destroying the audition just because of rumor mongering. That will show you kind of see that you have in fact,
So if you have 20 people in a day, you pay them.
just some nonsense that it's very, I won't be so good to talk about how you torture you because this doesn't make sense. What kind of comment is that?
The beauty of this program is that, thank you, Emeka, is that we don't have anything against any governor.
No.
We don't even, but if you are doing well,
We'll
if you
praise
do
you.
well, we are going to be on this platform. The same Yaya Bello in 6 months' time. If you can prove us
If you
wrong,
change, yeah.
we are going to sing your praises on this
The
same
same way we
table.
praised Dixon.
Yes, Siriake Dixon of Bayelsa
Bayelsa
State.
State.
So the same way we've been praising Akinwumi Ambody.
Yeah.
And if Akinwumi Ambody, I don't think he can change we'll take another turn because it's just growing from height to strength.
Yes.
Now, the problem we're having at Jide, I've been to Kogi State and I've been to Lokoja particularly, from Lokoja to Okene, from Okene to even your village. And when you get to Anambra, when you go from Anambra, you go to Alo, you go to Anambra
Yes,
to
yes,
Onitsha.
yes.
When you see,
you
they have the
see
best road network.
Yeah.
When you even go to Akure, when you go to cities, when you get to the state capital,
capital, yeah.
this is the state capital. If you get to Alausa, you say, oh, this is the state capital. But when we get to Lokoja,
Lokoja, don't
pitiable.
forget,
It's like a
used to
local
be,
government
is it the
I'm telling
second or the first Nigerian capital in
The
those
second.
days? Uh-huh.
After Zungeru, abi?
And it has not moved beyond that.
so when this young
don't even know
governor
when you
came
get to
there,
know-
it was like an opportunity.
Especially if you're traveling.
Exactly.
I
don't
say
even
it
get to know
depends
that in
on,
the
you see,
state capital.
one thing is, no governor does very well without preparing. You must
Yeah.
prepare for office. You must, it's
Those
not,
who can drink
It's like
you must
writing an
prepare.
exam.
You must prepare.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a fact. You must prepare.
Yeah.
This young man was not prepared for this job. He didn't.
Just
He didn't.
fell on-
He had even left their party, and then some people within the presidency decided to plan a coup against the people of the state, and then install somebody who got
And
no
it's
more
now
than 5,000 votes.
He's brandishing destiny and
Yes.
he's brandishing
No,
God.
people
God
will
that
always
will
that's
make
the
this.
typical
that's the way
Nigerian now.
Nigerians behave.
Let me
That's
take
typical Nigeria.
Samuel is calling us from Abuja.
Destiny
Thank you for
and
joining
God.
us, Samuel.
Yes. Good evening.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution, Samuel.
Yeah. You see, the governor is not serious because if he's serious, he will not be throwing money away. He was coming from Ondo. He was coming from Ondo on Saturday. Just throwing money anyhow.
Yes, I was told that.
That's
too.
told.
Yes, and he even contributed in the Ondo election thing, and
No, what
he
is even
mobilized
saying that
Kogi
he
people.
was spreading money.
Yes.
And people are not being paid salary, but he has money to be throwing away. Scattering
Yes,
money
during the
on-
inauguration when he
on-
left
on
that
road.
platform, he was just throwing money at people. Yeah.
Were you there?
No, the thing is, you can't be throwing money like confetti at our people. What our people want is good governance.
Enabling atmosphere.
You will give yourself immortality if you work for the people.
Exactly.
That's why
You
we
will
still talk
remain
about
in the,
Obafemi Awolowo.
you will remain in the
South
hearts
State.
of the people. You will remain in their hearts if you work for the people. There's no doubt about it. Awolowo gave us the second TV station in Africa.
Yes.
When people say first,
First.
it's because they do
because
not
of-
know. The first TV station was set up in Tunisia, not in Nigeria.
Okay.
So it's an opportunity to confirm that on this forum. Awolowo gave us the second TV station.
But as at that time, to
Yeah.
our level,
Yeah, to allowing in Africa.
Yes,
You know,
I mean it was a great
it's
feat.
a great feat.
You cannot forget Awolowo. You can't. the
Even
business
the-
district in Ikeja, all
Ikeja,
of those, you see
yeah.
what he created.
Exactly.
You know,
Board.
Wema Board, the rest of
Yeah.
them.
Cocoa House.
Yeah.
All those.
And rail lines, they created rail lines leading straight to
the industry,
yes. So you cannot forget such
Free
people.
education.
Even IBB, as
Yeah.
much as people hated him,
Yeah, look at it.
because he held on to power
Yes.
for too long.
Yes.
The road
When
network.
it comes to infrastructure,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
road
Give us Third
network
Mainland
in-
Bridge.
he
No,
built
not even that.
Abuja.
The Abuja.
He built
It
Abuja.
was, I mean,
and
it-
in
yeah.
Lagos today, we
If you
can
go
refer
to
the-
Mina, if you go to
You
Mina,
know,
you see
that
what he
one-
has
network
done.
is
When IBB was building Abuja, they said the roads were too expensive, but he told them these roads, 30 years you won't find pothole.
Yeah.
And that is
And that is what we have
That's what
seen.
we are seeing there now.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave us two major roads that I will not forget. Igondo Road and the Kudirat
Kudirat
Abiola
Abiola
Road.
Way.
that bridge.
And Bode George did an interview for Temple where he was saying, don't worry, those roads will be washed away in no time.
Short while.
But they are
And
still
we asked
standing.
him, we said, Julius Berger will do a road, and you are telling us that under 6 months it will be washed away by rain. As we speak,
How many
Kudirat
years
Abiola
after?
Way,
He still has
since year
good
2000, has not had a single pothole.
Yeah.
That's the value of leadership. People will remember you
Yeah.
for what
It
you
was
have
the
done.
first person that brought in IPP
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Nigeria.
People
Aaron,
will remember you.
That project in Ikorodu. Samuel from River State.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Samuel. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening to you, everybody.
Somewhere.
My questions goes to Babajide,
Okay.
because I was told you are from Kogi State.
I said it.
And you are one of the brilliant journalists we have in this country. And I so much love you, honestly speaking. How do Kogi people, how did you get to this level? Because the kind of character you have as a governor, it is so disappointing. I was watching the video now. When this man was talking, there's no difference between this governor and River State governor. Honestly speaking, I caught these people out. It is a pity. And thank God.
Samuel, thank you. Please don't insult Jide's governor. Please, please, and we won't allow you to
My
start
governor
calling
is better
an
than
executive
yours.
governor out.
Samuel, my governor is better than yours. That's what I will always tell people. Because I won't kill myself. That's what I will be telling people. I know I'll you see, people. You see, I have a double predicament. I have a senator that I'm not proud that he represents me.
Okay.
Now this governor.
Yours is double jeopardy.
Double wahala for the anybody
I
as well.
don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do now. I don't know. Because
I
when
don't
people
envy
taunt
you.
me, when people taunt me about my senator,
Who is your senator? Who is your senator?
We
I don't know.
want-
I don't know.
I don't want to mention
I don't know him.
No, I think, well, of course, I mean, we want to believe that the government of Kogi State is listening. I mean, their aides are watching. I think it's high time they actually call.
The media aides of Governor
You know,
Audu, you've not been doing a good job.
No, Bello.
I think
Bello.
he's a young man.
You've
Let's
not
give
been
him
doing a
some
good
time
job because
You know.
and
he's
he
always
will-
in the news for the wrong
for the
reasons.
very wrong reason.
No, it should
Let him
actually-
pay people salaries and
People's salary and start
listen.
projecting
And
him.
just,
Let's
yeah.
see what he has been doing. Maybe in 6 months' time, we'll be back here to celebrate Governor Bello. We're happy he's a young governor. We're happy that he's in our generation.
I think
but we're not
the
impressed.
bad thing about he's the youngest governor.
they exaggerate
exactly.
the fact that he's 42. They exaggerate being young. During the First Republic, people were in their
30,
20s. They were
34.
ministers.
34,
Eh,
go on,
oh.
34.
They were in their 20s.
Empty
This
Umbu.
Baba now, this what's his name? How old was Clark when he was minister of information?
Yes.
So
Yes.
how can a 42-year-old man still be thinking that he's
He's
so
a young man.
He's a
No,
small
in,
boy.
no, compared to the 60s and.
All right, we have to take
It's not that
them.
young.
And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubakula. Bye for now and God bless you.